In a journey across the mystical realms, Drake Wyvern and his team face unimaginable challenges as they seek out the truth about their legacy. This chapter delves into the adventures and trials they encounter in the vast Australian outback, setting the stage for an epic confrontation with ancient forces. Chapter 7. Learning from the best. After what seemed like hours since we departed the plane, we finally made it into the city. It had taken most of the day to prepare for our journey, including setting up transportation and shopping for provisions. Though we doubted we would need them, as many of us hadn't fed in our spiritual forms, and the hunger could strike at any time. It would be best to be outside civilization when that happened. Once our preparations were complete, we set off across the Australian territory. The Range Rover was comfortable, despite the rough ride and dusty roads. Everyone was in good spirits, lost in their own thoughts. When conversations did start, they often revolved around seeking answers. "Do you think he will know about the legacy? Do you think he can help us?" Azazel asked, an innocent enough question. "If he is the last, he can help. If not, we will have to search out the next link. The outback would be a good place to hide a heritage as large as this one might be," I answered. Apala spoke gruffly. "He'll know. I feel it." With that, he shot out of the car, causing Azazel and John to gasp in shock. I screeched the car to a halt just as a white wolf surged past us. Apala had morphed and went on the hunt. "Such passion that little foolish boy has," Thatch sighed, exiting the car and running in front of us. The car lifted as a vast cloud of dust blasted in front of us, the cracked windshield balancing the car as it touched the ground. Thatch surged into the air, transforming into an emerald green dragon with slim spikes lining her back. John watched intensely, begrudgingly saying, "I really need to learn how to do all of that." Azazel and I leaped out and transformed, letting the spirit ripple through our strides as we ran. The passion had overtaken us all. Once Apala changed, it set off a chain reaction, each of us morphing and hunting whatever could be devoured. The wolf pack crossed half the territory, feeding, while Thatch watched over us like a hawk. John pursued in the car until we heard a wrenching screech that pierced the air in our minds, giving us the image of the enemy in the sky. We stopped and looked at the horizon, where a blue mass flew high in the sky. John saw it clearly and swerved into open space before stopping. We couldn't yet see what it was, but it was coming our way with purpose and speed, ready for a fight. I saw it first and morphed back to human form, telling the others, "Change back and present no danger." As we did, the mass became clearer. It was a dragon. Excited either for the fight or the answers, we waited. When the blue dragon came into view, his enormous wings ascended, the dust rising hard and blinding our eyesight. Then it landed several feet from us, its greatness astonishing. As the dust settled, it spoke with an authority that demanded respect and admiration. "Who comes traveling in my domain? Wolf or demon, state your business." I spoke without aggression. "Great Dragon, I am the son of Coral Matthews and Jonathan Drogan. My name is Drake Wyvern." "Jonathan, my son," he exclaimed. "Yes, sir. Your son and his mistress were to be wed before he was killed, sir." "Yes, I know of this," his voice boomed, "but I did not know of you." I was put up for adoption in secrecy through the British High Council and raised in America under the watchful eye of Chief Bakunawa, chieftain of the Warm Springs Indian tribe and ancestor to the wolf who defended for the Creator. The dragon moved, flexing his body in retreat, standing straight up, his eyes staring down with what seemed like malicious intent. With a small growl, he turned his head in dismay. Morphing back to human form, he reached out for his grandson. He was an old man, with a beard that made him seem like he was hundreds of years old. Fragile in human form, his frame was undoubtedly thin, but his smile radiated a majestic presence. Holding his grandson in his arms, I could feel the power in him, the power needed to defend creation for the Creator. I turned to the group and introduced my grandfather. "Looks like we were right. This is Jonathan Drogan Sr., my grandfather." "Your disciples?" "Yes, each ready to give their life for the Creator if needed." "I was ready to fight for the Creator," said my grandfather. "But we both knew I could not win at my age, for I am over 1,000 years in human form, but only like 100 years in Dragon's age." We all went to the Drogan Outback, as we called it. It was larger than a ranch, but smaller than a territory, so we named it the Outback. It was well stocked and a good place to resume my training. I also learned that my grandfather had his own group of disciples who could now join mine if I wanted, though I never forgot the words of the chieftain. Over the next year, I trained my disciples. Those not up to standard were tactfully given the honor of protecting my grandfather. Since they were already devoted to him, there would be no offense. The rest, though there was only one, was selected and accepted by me. His name was Luke Maloney, a bit of a show-off but with unrivaled skills. Naturally, being around Luke always felt like a competition. Apala did not like him, and they often butted heads. My reason for picking Luke was clear. He loved to fight and reveled in it. I remember the sparring match he and Apala had. Even in human form, he tricked Apala into a building and trapped him, jumping on his back and proceeding to cut the fur off his body. Luke was thrown off and pinned by Apala, an embarrassing moment for many reasons. But Luke's ingenuity and daring were worth their weight in gold. So, I picked him, much to Apala's complaints and Thatch's warnings. The newcomer had already mastered morphing into a dragon, so he and Thatch would teach the rest of us to do the same. In that respect, Thatch and Luke would also learn to transform into wolves. Together, we became a cohesive team ready to defend creation. Our training lasted many years. We became a tightly knit group. I traveled between Australia and England, eventually finishing my diploma. Apala returned to England, bringing John and Thatch with him. They watched over things from there, especially my mother, in case the Queen tried any dirty tricks. Apala endeavored to finish his studies, while John and Thatch set up a small business, a front that helped me network with everyone in real time. My grandfather passed on all his knowledge to me. It was like traveling back in time, learning all the mysteries of the world through the eyes of a legend. Our knowledge of the world before us and around us flourished. In the years to come, I would become the leader needed to defeat the Queen. With the Elder Dragons, we discussed the attack on my mother by the Red Dragon. We might face the oldest of defeats. It was the dragon that defeated our ancestors in 476 AD, starting the curse of evil known as the Dark Ages. It was the wolf that brought victory back to the Creator and harmony to the centuries that followed. The Elder believed this was why the Creator had trained me in both the ways of the dragon and the wolf. However, I was worried, as was Chief Bakunawa. The chief relayed his concerns, making me understand that having two skills could give me an advantage or give the Queen a second skill or trait to balance everything out. This was something we needed to discover. Hopefully we could deal with this before she again tried to power her way to reign over creation. I sent my disciples around the world to investigate all possible leads involving dragon lore, sightings, and disturbances created by unspecified forces. This included incidents such as bridges collapsing, enormous fires, mass killings, and attacks or disappearances of trains, boats, or aircraft. John organized everything, keeping everyone in contact with a system to alarm the other members on their smartphones if needed. It was our only luxury. No one minded too much. We had been used to this life for a while now. I was cut off from society's glamour, and preferred it that way, with fewer distractions. We had to focus on finding the next clue. Any of these events with undetermined causes could have been orchestrated by the Queen or one of her followers. They needed to be investigated. Any information found would help in preparing for the final days of this era, whether it be on the side of the Creator or the Queen. One night will stay with me forever, the night Thatch called me. The ringing phone wrestled the allure of sweet whisperings. Was I really hearing this? Yes. As the blur of sight became clearer, I turned to my right and grabbed my phone. Hello? Sir Drake, thank God. A familiar voice chimed in.
Thatch?
Yes, I'm glad I got you. I was nervous hearing that, but I tried to remain calm. What's the matter? John and Apala have been attacked. What? Sheets thrown aside, I leaped off the bed. When? Is it the red one? Now near the window, I stared around the room. I couldn't transform here without causing destruction. Sir Drake, calm down, they are fine, but she was not there. Floating my eyes across the landscape the window offered me, I took a deep breath. Reminiscent of the distance between the enemy and me, I asked, what happened? Apala and John were checking a possible clue, a strange occurrence. It was a case of a large number of animals dying. John thought it was worth checking, so they both went, but they were attacked not by dragons, but by humans. Humans? Yes, they attacked them. It felt like a trap because the humans were expecting them. So they are unharmed? Scratches and scrapes, nothing that can't be healed. They were able to transform just as the trap was sprung. The humans were prepared with tranquilizer guns, nets, and rope traps. They were trying to capture them? Yes, pretty much. Humans always were the ignorant ones, unknowing of the sacrifices made for them behind the scenes. It felt odd that humans wouldn't know we exist. Dragons, wolves, and all the others. Unless they were... Anyway, the question is, what purpose would it serve for the Queen to capture us? Isn't she more likely to kill my disciples? Wait, were these humans acting alone? I doubt it. I think this is her. Apollo said the humans were like rabid beasts. They had no fear. That's not normal. If I'm right, I think the Queen was using mind-bending. Mind-bending? It's an old ability, but dragons can reach into people's minds. It was used to brainwash people. I think she used this on the humans who attacked them. Apollo brought back a hostage, if you want to call him that. I grabbed the chair and sat down, trying to grasp the situation. My head throbbed from the slight possibility this could have gone horribly wrong. I suppose on waking up, the person is back to normal, right? I asked playfully, even under the stress. Normal, yes. He doesn't remember a thing. And we might be in a little trouble. The person is tied down on Apollo's bed, shouting how he's going to call the police on us. That is... Don't worry. I called Pendragon and he says he can deal with this man himself. He's already on his way. I started to consider this. Thatch? Yes. How long ago did this happen? 2 hours. So you waited 2 hours to tell me all of this? No, sir. It's not like that. I called you countless times. Besides, we were busy gathering information on what happened and why, so it felt needless to call until now. Okay, I get that. I was asleep, hence why I didn't answer the phone. But Thatch, John, Apollo, all of you, none of you called me to tell me you were going on a journey to this place? Sir Drake, we go on tons of these little errands daily. We can't be calling you every 5 minutes. Messages are dead now? No, but would it matter? You were asleep. I paused at that sharp point. What now? You have nothing to say? Listen, I called out of courtesy and to fulfill my duties as part of this team. The last thing I need is being berated for doing a good job. Wait. Breathing out, I contained the shame of the moment. I do not want any harm to befall you, so information is key. If anything happens, I can come to your aid quickly since I know where you are. As if that was a consolation, I heard a shuffling noise. Should I say more or wait? If you cannot trust us to fight on our own, I suggest you fight this battle on your own, she said flatly. The flat line was firmly set to play a deadly tone for me. That is asking too much of me. Is it? You are the chosen one, powerful and mighty, Listen, you have me with you for wisdom, for my experience. Let me give you advice from a mother of one girl. Believing in people close to you pushes them to higher heights. I understand you are scared. You should be. That was not how I wanted to be portrayed. What? No, I just want to make sure you're safe. So, you fear my death? She asked without hesitance, making it impossible for me to backtrack and pretend strength. Yes, not because of your daughter. I would genuinely miss you if I lost you, any of you. There was a silence, and I suddenly realized I had said too much. I respect that, but you cannot baby me forever. Just like you cannot baby your disciples forever. You must make them grow up. They are strong individuals who can stand on their own. It is the same with my daughter now, as she is becoming a teen soon. Even Luke, I can now say he is really becoming reliable. That was true. Luke was always a hothead, but his work ethic was high and highly prized from my standpoint. You need leaders, not slaves. The Queen is using slaves, so she will use many followers who are nothing more than numbers to add to the slaughter. It's cruel, but she is evil. Thatch spoke candidly. The Queen made capturing them seem weird. If she is as smart as she is dangerous, I could see good reason for her trying to capture one of my disciples. If it were me, I would do the same. I agreed. Yes, very. Listen, I am sore. Don't worry about it. Just trust in us. Anyways, I will relay the inefficiency of the messaging to John. See if he can make something more to your liking. No, you don't need to do that. I mean... It's okay, Sir Drake. He would be happy to do it. Gives him something to do once in a while. As a leader, you have to keep your underlings busy. Make sure they don't get complacent. John was always ready to help. I could attest to that. I see. Thanks. By the way, how is Abigail? Asking about Thatch's daughter always felt weird, mostly because I knew I still had feelings towards Thatch. Something I hid in plain sight. Her daughter felt like someone precious to me, even though I had not met her. She's okay, doing well in school. That's good. A slight dip in vocal octave. Sir Drake, do not worry about us. You chose us because you believed in us. Do not let your fear make you lose faith in your disciples. Lose faith. Was I really going down that path? All this time, training and pushing myself, I forgot my disciples are people with their own feelings. Was I too hard on Azazel and Luke? Not really, just the occasional grit and toughness I usually exhibit. But that might be the problem. Was that me pushing people away? I leaned as I stood up.